haven't realized just how similar we are.
What?
We're one and the same. We both detest this rotten society and struggle day after day to combat it. With our power to change hearts, we strive to incite change among the masses.
Don't kid yourself. There's no way you're the same as us.
We all know about your past. It must have been terrible for you, but still. What you're doing now makes you no better than a common criminal.
I change hearts in order to exterminate the evils of this world. Are we not essentially the same? I'm simply introducing a system to keep things in order. And by creating monarchs, I'm ensuring everything plays out according to plan.
What are you talking about?
When the cognitive world revealed itself to me, I took it as an act of divine revelation. It was my birthright to change this godforsaken planet. With the cognitive world in my grasp, I could wipe all evil from the face of the earth. I would not waste such an incredible gift. But in order to see that dream realized, I needed a world that could be controlled.
Controlled? What do you mean?
I needed a world that would allow me to erase even the slightest traces of evil from people's subconscious minds. To that end, I required something that could reach everyone and bring them to submission. Yes, it seems AI was the solution to that problem. Thus, the next step was to acquire Emma and have it learn more about cognitive science at the research lab in Okinawa. The end results were the jails created by Emma. Unique cognitive worlds in which no heart, no matter how cold, could resist being changed.
You're saying Emma made the jails?
So that's why the jails were left standing even after we defeated the monarchs.
The jails aren't perfect, mind you. A jail's area of effect only covers roughly one city. Peculiar how such a phenomenal power has such a limited range. In order to change the hearts of all humanity, I needed nothing short of an army of monarchs. So I began gathering pawns, powerless, lamenting puppets who felt as hopeless on this earth as I once did. And do you know what happens when you grant people like that the power to change hearts? They welcome their newfound power with open arms. And by using Emma to guide them, keeping them under control is a menial task. With the monarchs I'd personally selected, I could change the hearts of the festering rabble who calls this rotten place home. With the monarchs at my command, I could change the heart of anyone who dares step out of line. That was the endgame. Operation Oraculi. But you phantom thieves had to show up and ruin everything.
So when we started taking down your jails, you got scared that your plan would fail. That's why you used the police and turned Akane into a monarch. It was all an attempt to stop us.
It's not too late. I can still erase these obstacles and start over. You're still so naive. But eventually, even you will come to understand. Fight all you want. The most you can do is change the hearts of a scant few. Don't you see that my way is far more efficient?
So everything will be fine as long as you're the one making all the decisions? Who do you think you are? Some kind of god?
You're just forcing your ideas on everyone else!
What foolish logic. So when you change people's hearts, it's right. But when someone else does it, it's wrong. I've built an entire infrastructure for changing hearts. What was impossible for you, I have made a reality. As a hero, I will reign over the whole world with infallible justice.
You used Akane for this ridiculous plan of yours? She was just an innocent girl. Everyone you'd made a monarch had some form of trauma. But you treated them like tools, even toyed with their lives. You don't know the first thing about justice!
Then do you believe you could have saved me?
Huh?
Let's say you had been around back then. Could you have saved me from my father? I had nowhere to run. I was just a scared, helpless child left to suffer by himself. Well, could you really have saved me? Even now, there are surely others being brought up in the same hell that I was. And yet you've done nothing to help them.
Well, that's...
You only destroy the evils you just happen to come across. But you'll never save everyone. Me, however, I have the power to change the entire world. No one will ever have to suffer as I did ever again. And to do that, you need something beyond what the Phantom Thieves can offer. You need more than some childish heroic fantasy.
But that's not justice. All you're doing is brainwashing everyone. You're taking away their freedom, who they are.
And what's the difference? Both of us change the hearts of others against their will. So how am I any different from you?
Don't you understand?
What?
For you, changing someone's heart means imprisoning them. But for the Phantom Thieves, it means setting them free. You may steal desires like them, but the Phantom Thieves give people hope.
I feel like that's the first time Sophia has spoken up.
Maybe you don't realize it.
At least in a long while.
Deep down, you know you're nothing like them.
It seems there's little point in discussing this further. If we can't reach an understanding, then only one side can remain. It's time to decide which of us truly walks the path of justice.
Oh, okay. So clearly this fight will be a long one.
There aren't any real heroes left. So, why not make our own? The world needs someone willing to fight for its people's justice. A hero to lead them, to unify them. A hero like me!
Alright, so it's basically a mecha Zephyr Man suit.
And if I'm the hero, that makes you the villain.
Alright, let's do this. Assuming he has the same weaknesses as the lockkeeper of this jail.
Of righteousness, the hero who will purge the wicked from every corner of the globe.
Theoretically, we should be okay. Well, let's see.
Phantom Thieves, and watch as I shatter your illusory sense of justice with my own two hands.
Alright, so what are we looking at here? He is weak to Zio based skills, and what else do we have? I think that's it, at least from Joker's side. So what we'll do, we'll start focusing on buffs and debuffs. Ooh, okay.
Here, have this. Try this. This is more like a kick toy to me. Try this. I think I'm doing this, but let's give it all we got. Sure. I'll use this.
I feel like buffs and debuffs take a lot out of you. Especially at the beginning of the battle. It's a lot of overhead. And of course, you know, the person you're controlling in order to do the buffs and debuffs, they're basically a sitting duck. You cannot, you know, there is no moving around, I think.
I'll use this. I owe you one.
Alright, I think that's the best I can do for now. Buffs wise. Let's work towards some of these skills here. And I think for this fight, I wouldn't be afraid to just straight up kill it with the skills and, you know, risk burning some SP. Let's see. I'd be willing to bet. Yeah. So he is weak to nuclear skills, just like the previous Lockkeeper. So that makes perfect sense. So let's go ahead and just pretty much go insane with Zio and nuclear-based skills. And of course, keep on the buffs and, you know, debuffs accordingly. You can also score some technicals, supposedly, with these nuclear-based skills as well. And it helps to take advantage of those one more shots as well. Kind of like that. So we've taken down, I mean, it can't be that easy. I think something's coming up. He clearly has to have, you know, multiple forms. If we've already gotten him down to 75% health. So, and of course, we've gotten him down on his knees right now. So clearly you want to take advantage of that. Switch back to Joker. Keep hitting them with these weaknesses. And just keep the pressure. He hasn't really hit us yet. At least not hard enough for people to start feigning or, you know, start just being on the brink of death. But we do have a lot of our SP restoration necessary. So let's get Joker back up to speed. We need Ryuji as well. And of course Makoto. Things Zenkichi wise were looking okay. We haven't really been able to leverage his skills in this fight outside of just buffs. This guy can move around the battlefield here and there, but I don't see any sort of quickness. And here's another all-out attack. So, I mean, it can't be this easy. I'm waiting for this guy to basically change into another form or something. I mean, just like that, he's down yet again. And we're not even at a high enough level to be able to say, oh, okay, we're just straight up having zero issues with this. Gotta move out of the way. And at some point, I would probably want to kind of work our way again through the buffs and debuffs, since they do disappear over time. They are not by any means permanent. Gotta move out of the missile trajectories. Ooh. Oops. I think we're going to be right back to square one with the SP again. And we're almost there. We've gotten him down to his dying breath, at least for this form. And, you know, like I said, it just makes no sense for him to be going down this easily. So let's see. I mean, for a semi-final boss, nothing crazy so far. He's still in his suit, right? So he has to... That has to be the second form. Right. That's more like it.
Gotta put him down one last time.
Come on, phantom thieves.
And hopefully this part 2 is the last part. Because any more, that would get kind of crazy.
A hero must stand his ground. You must not let evil overcome you.
He may be our enemy, but you've got to admire his determination. Mech or not, he's really taking it up a notch. Watch your backs, guys.
What is all this?
Hopefully, he's not super fast speed like that doppelganger for Joker, right? Because that would be quite troublesome. And let's see. Unfortunately, we did not retain any of the buffs and debuffs from that last fight. So that is pretty annoying, I will say. But either ways, let's get back up to speed on the SP side first. Eventually, we're gonna be burnt out of SP as well. So let's try to make the best of it. I'm not sure if I have any more outside of those. So a few more, looks like. But let's try to be conservative. Let's see if I can kind of... Oh, and there's things you can move towards as well. What is this doing? I don't know what that did. Assuming he still has the same weaknesses, which he does. Let's see if we can start using some of this stuff. He hits pretty hard. And that did do something. From a Zio standpoint. And he is, thankfully, still weak to nuke skills as well. Beef. So a lot of times moving to these things kind of gets you criticals. But you kind of have to time it right. I like that right there. That was kind of dumb. So you kind of have to use that carefully. And I think at some point, probably near the 50% range, we're probably going to have to switch to just physical moves only. Because I don't see how we cannot run out of SP by that time. But thankfully, we do have a bunch of these HP restoratives. So we can certainly burn through those like crazy. Whoops. And you can certainly use these combination skills from your teammates, as well as these things. So how are we looking progress rise? We just hit 75% of his HP. He is very quick compared to his previous form, I will say. But you know, I don't see like a crazy defense system or anything. So it's not like he has received any sort of defense upgrades. I mean, my strategy here is simple, right? Keep the buffs and debuffs going, be quick about it, and then hit him with the weaknesses, try to utilize things in the environment, and it looks like we've hit a Showtime gauge moment. That's pretty cool. But of course, that's not going to be doing crazy amounts of damage. It did help. And during the moments when he's down, right, these bosses, that's when you want to just hit him with everything you have. I do have to restore SP yet again. So let's burn through the rest of these items while we have the chance. And thankfully this one also applies the Makukaja effect, which is great. Definitely of some use. Yeah, that is of no use. I mean, I've used it multiple times now just to assert just what the heck I can do with that. It's not gonna do anything to this guy unless you have like a clear line of sight on him. All right, well, and now we'll go back to another SP restoration. This is really good since it recovers 40 SP plus that other effect. So that'll really help us out. And we're almost done here. So assuming he has no more gimmicks, we're probably just about done. Yeah, he is not anywhere near as mobile as some of the other bosses we fought before. And I think that really makes the fight that much easier. So as you can see, we're almost done here. We could be done with this last attack, which I think we are. So we lost a bunch of SP recovery items, but not too bad. So is that the end? I guess it is.